Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested, and it is that time of year again. I and the rest of the Tested team will share our favorite things of this past year. Not necessarily new things, some new things, but things that we've come to really enjoy and brought us a lot of delight and sometimes surprise. I'm gonna start off with my favorite Lego set this year, which is the Death Star Trench Run Diorama. I did this as a build video. Now, by itself, it's not a terribly remarkable Lego set because there are a lot of great UCS sets that they released this year. This is a tiny scale diorama, of course, an iconic scene from A New Hope. What makes this one of my favorite things is the way I combined it with another set and did some aftermarket customization to it. So first of all, there's actually a combination of two sets. Not only is it the Death Star Trench Run, but I've actually combined it with the Lego Pursuit of Flight, which was a Lego designer program released by JK Brickworks, Jason Alleman, and that was a piece of Lego Automata with force perspective, two planes chasing each other. Combining the mechanics of that with the Death Star Trench diorama gives me a little bit of chasing action here. Actually, the other way around. X-Wing goes first, TIE Fighter chases after. What I've also done is combine it with my favorite things, which is lighting Lego sets. Something I've done with almost all the Lego sets I've built this year. This one comes from Light My Bricks. It's a bunch of little spotlights, replacing a few of the clear studs here and there, embedding LEDs. You can see the wire that goes through, and I plug this into USB power, and it lights up, and now we have a real chase going on. There it goes. X-Wing leads, TIE Fighter follows. Luke and Vader. Light your Lego sets. Whether it's a diorama, a model, there's gonna be a variety of different lighting kits out there. I like the Light My Bricks system, super easy to use, and they really level up and plus up the sets that you put together. Moving on, some gear, of course. Another piece of kit that actually received last year, but made a lot more use of this year because we did start to do some traveling this year. So this summer we went to DC, to the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. Also got to spend a week in London and brought along an invaluable piece of gear, not the camera, the monopod. This monopod from iFootage has been an MVP in my travel kit. Not just on the road, but also using it as a monopod at home to hold this Panasonic GH5 to use for a secondary camera for overhead shots, over the shoulder shots, or just very easily being able to move it around my home workspace. Very lightweight. This is a carbon fiber version, has one of their fluid heads on top, and it collapses down and fits inside carry-on luggage. So my suitcase I can put in the overhead. This actually collapses down and fits in that, and the base has a quick release that comes off that also works as its own display as well. If you want to put a light on it, and it has a nice ball joint there, so very easy to change the angle. Monopod, every time we've taken this on location, other people who film with us or people we've been filming with always ask what that piece of kit is, and it's this iFootage monopod that we really love. Something I've also incorporated into my workflow is the DJI mic. Now, it's become one of my favorite pieces of AV gear. I use it to film all my videos at home. I have it as part of my backpack that I carry around everywhere, and it's two microphones connected to a receiver, so two transmitters right here connected to a receiver in an AirPods style chargeable case. You can see already picking up audio. The transmitters have microphones built in, but I've picked up a Shure wired lob that I plug into that. And then this receiver, you then plug into the 3.5 millimeter jack of your camera of choice, or there's an adapter right here that you can plug into your phone as well if you want to record to your Android or iPhone. We tested a bunch of different digital wireless packs over the years from Rode, from other companies, and I like the DJI one. It records locally onto the transmitters themselves with built-in storage. So not only do you get the doubling you get the audio recording on the receiver onto your camera, you also get the safety backup on the transmitter itself. And this has allowed me to film basically the very small crew, or sometimes uses a backup microphone system on convention visits, whether going to Star Wars Celebration, going to LEGO conventions. Combine that with my monopod setup and a microphone setup, I can have a production kit in my backpack, essentially. It's been indispensable. Moving on, or sticking along with some technical gear, this is a fun piece of kit that I picked up just to dabble in it. So, as a part of our last year's Favorite Things videos, Mel from our team shared some of their favorite things, including a bunch of synthesizers that they take on and just kind of jam and riff when they're traveling, something to keep in the car. And it got me thinking about, well, I like music, I want to find something to dabble with if I'm on the road, but I'm totally a novice. What could I get into? And I found this series, it's been around for a while, of pocket operators from Teenage Engineering. And these are little synthesizers that cost around $100. There's a whole line of them with different instrument packs. There's percussion, there's other types of digital music. This is the arcade series, so it's a bunch of kind of 8-bit arcade sounds. And it comes with pre-recorded mixes that you can start riffing with. You can also generate tracks completely from scratch, but I'll play with you one pattern built in. And here's just 16 bars of music. I can very easily change some tempo. Now I like the first one, all right? And then you can start mixing with by adding some chords. They're going to change the chords a little bit. Add some effects. And then let's fade out. With 16 different slots for storing 16 compositions or using the preloaded ones, it's been really fun just to dive into here and explore. There's so many different ways to use this, and you can daisy chain them, plug in headphones, and plug it into Teenage Engineering's more complicated music creation devices to create some music. So it's been really fun to use this on airplanes and riding in cars. Although my favorite piece of technology this year has got to be the Steam Deck. I was able to review this when it first came out, and it really has become a game changer in PC gaming. Not only is it the compatibility with games just widely increased since launch, the software, Valve has done an incredible job updating the software. If you're unfamiliar with the Steam Deck, it's a large handheld gaming PC. And the technology is at a point where AMD's APUs are power efficient enough and powerful enough that you can run at the resolution that this runs at a modern game, whether it's Elden Ring, 2018's God of War, or basically any game from the PlayStation 4 to Xbox One era, smoothly on here, whether it's at 30 FPS and up to 60 FPS, or using the USB-C port or their new dock, you can even output to HDMI and play it on your TV. It's running SteamOS, which is Linux-based, and so you can even run this as a Linux desktop and run web browsers, install applications, or if you want to sideload Windows on here, Windows drivers are finally out or have been out for a while, and so you can actually run Windows games. It's a PC. The improvements they've made to the Photon compatibility layer have just made it really compatible with many, many new games. I won't say all of them, but a vast majority of new games are now Steam Deck certified, and all the customization that you can do for performance. So whether that's changing the refresh rate and frame rate down to 40 hertz for smoother gameplay, or extending the battery life, all these little tweaks you can do have made this a fun device not only to tinker with, but to also then play through that Steam back catalog that you and everyone else and I have accumulated over the years. This is just a really, like I said, a game changer in PC gaming and a really crazy good price at that entry level, the 64 gig level. Just get a micro SD card or buy a storage drive, a flash drive, and very easily upgrade the internal storage. All right, got the Steam Deck, got some gear. In terms of making stuff, I've been doing a bunch of 3D printing and laser cutting this year, using mostly the same tools I had in past years, but one thing I've incorporated into my workflow is something that was recommended by Chris Rayleigh, Route 9 Signs, who I had a fortunate chance to meet in person, finally, and interview this past year. And he uses this 3M transfer sheets, which are very thin, but very tacky, and you apply this onto your material before you laser cut it, and then laser cut it, and it makes then, you basically have now a laser cut piece that you don't need to spray glue on, you don't need to apply CA glue. You have a fully tacked side that you can apply and stack your laser cut pieces. It's become really indispensable in making beautiful laser cut things without having to deal with glues or sprays after the fact, and relatively cheap as well for a 12-inch by 12-inch sheet. I have this on just a regular bi-monthly order to get a couple of these sheets in to use in my projects. All right, moving on to model kits as well. Now, this isn't a model kit, but it will be tied to a model kit. This is, if you recognize it, Callie, the stop motion animated character, the villain from Sinbad and the Golden Voyage, the 1973 or 74 second of the Sinbad films, created by Ray Harryhausen. And this is a vinyl sculpture representation of Callie, released by Star Ace. Star Ace is related to company X Plus. They're the company that make the vinyl Godzilla characters and toys that have been very popular in Japan, and they got the Harryhausen license to celebrate his 100th birthday 2 years ago in 2020. So over the past couple of years, they've been releasing characters like Callie. This is kind of a high-end collectible at a couple $100s, but new this year are those same characters and basically the same castings from those injection molds as soft vinyl kits. And the first few are out now, including the iconic Cyclops from the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, the first of the Sinbad films. And this is a beautiful kit. A soft vinyl kit, the castings are perfect. They're as if this is what the manufacturer would be using to assemble the finished product before painting. Perfectly keyed in. You got your torso, your upper body, your limbs, even a removable mouthpiece here for painting, magnetically attached, and a movable articulated mouth, and even a movable eyeball, which the pre-painted figure had. So basically, this is a company taking, and I wish more companies would do this, taking the castings or the injection molds or wherever the product is before they're painted, and as opposed to booking time in the factory for painting, releasing it as a user paintable and user assemble, a kit that a user can put together. More companies should do this. Having the pre-painted, finished, beautifully painted version is great, but having a more affordable version as a kit, that's what I want to see more of. So really glad they put this out and more of these characters are to come. My favorite collectible and toy of the year, though, comes from one of my favorite companies, 3-0. I've done features on a bunch of their Transformers DLX line characters before, and this is one of them. This is Optimus Prime from the Bumblebee film. Probably my favorite representation of a live action Optimus Prime in the modern era. Definitely has those, Gen 1 influences, but all the high levels of details that ILM, the other effects companies, put into Optimus. This is a 12-inch die-cast figure from 3-0, but I got this last year, and what came out this year? Same character, not the DLX line, but a premium line. This is 1/12 scale Optimus Prime. And I wanted to bring both of this in because the comparison blew my mind. I had this for a year. I thought it was incredibly detailed, the paint job, the weathering, all the posability, the articulation, everything was already great. I did not know it could be better. Life could be better. And life is amazing with this non-transforming, but extremely still posable and incredibly detailed premium scale 1/12 scale Optimus Prime. He does light up with his eyes. He comes with a bunch of accessories. The joints are nice and rigid, so they're posable, but they will hold their pose with his ankles to his elbows here. Really clever things they do to collapse some of the pieces so you can actually get full articulation. And even versions where you can swap out some of his greeblies for his Cybertron variation versus how he appears on Earth. But it basically looks like it's like the CG model that they would have been using for filming and animation brought into the real world. Incredible paint finish, wonderful weathering. I love the gloss on the red here. The back, I mean, oh, that's just the spine of Optimus. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing to look at. My new son, Optimus Prime. There we go. A few of my favorite things this year in 2022. Could you believe it? Now, over the coming weeks, we'll have favorite things videos from the rest of the Tested team, wrapping up with Adam at the end of this year. But hope you've had a wonderful 2022. Thank you so much for watching Tested videos. Have a happy holidays, and we'll see you next year.